Hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome to class this morning. Please, I would like to confirm that everyone could hear me loud and clear. Please, if you can hear me loud and clear, kindly type 1 in the chat room. If you can hear me loud and clear, kindly type 1 in the chat room. Okay, so we are back to class. Sorry, we had a little delay this morning, but we are kicking up immediately. Just to ensure that we're on the same page. So last week we started the introductory class to project management. And today we are going to continue in that introductory. Let's see how we can round up with the first class, the first introductory class, so that we can move on to the other part of this class. Meanwhile, we are supposed to have nomination of class board that will be managing this class. We have 10 people in the house. So I think what we'll do is that we'll take the first section, and when before we go for break, we can have the nominations. I believe by then the whole class would have been present. All right, so since everyone could hear me loud and clear, I think it's good we commence the class. So last week we started with introduction to project management, and we dealt with quite a number of things. We took out a case study that we looked into, and then we looked at the basic definitions in project management. And today we are continuing from where we stopped last week. However, before we proceed, we'd like to have someone from the class to please give us a recap. And also, we were given a functional assignment to do some sort of analysis in our organization, differentiating our outputs versus our outcomes within the organization. So we would like to have a report of how were we able to carry out those basic information, the basic knowledge we gathered last week. We were able to apply it to our workplace. So if you did, kindly tell us your experience. If you did not, maybe you share with us why you did not. Because what we are doing is a practical class. It's called a professional class. So it's not just come and learn and go. It's come, learn, and do. Then come, learn again and do. So everyone here, I can see Avid Mas. I can see Babatunde. I doubt if I saw Friday last week. Jason was off and on. Maruf was all through. Olani Uluwole, I think this is a new person. Rose Abena was on, and Suleiman was on. We all discussed together. So we are going to share, apart from the recap, someone will give us recap, and then we need to share our experiences so far. Did we apply what we've learned in our workplace within the week? So let's do that in 5 minutes. and then we'll be on to the next section. Please, importantly, let's be reminded that this class is live on YouTube. So in case you have any network hitch, you can kindly join us on YouTube. If Zoom network in your area is not that strong, you can join us on YouTube. Right. Okay. So you get the same thing. The only thing you will not have is that you might not be able to ask questions there and get immediate response. Okay, so let's start with the first, which is recap. So can someone give us a recap of all we did last week? We had a very short time last week. Can someone give us a recap of all we did last week? Can someone give us a recap? Can someone give us a recap, please? We need a recap of the section last, for the benefit of those who weren't around last week. Can we have a recap? Okay, so Babatunde said yes, sir. So Babatunde, if you want to give us a recap, kindly raise your hand and then we'll unmute you so that you can go ahead and give us a recap. Please, if you're ready to give us a recap, kindly unmute them. Okay, so please, Babatunde, kindly unmute and let's hear from you, please.
Yeah, good morning, our distinguished facilitator.
Good morning, last week distinguished Babatunde.
So last week you were able to take us through the art of projects, what are the definition of project and project management itself. You were able to define the three constraints in project management. We were able to investigate a case study of Apollo and the other firm that approached them for a business. We analyzed the case scenario of the reasons they failed. While the problem they had was, number one, they did not have a concrete agreement. There was no arbitrator in between them, and many more to that. And as well, you tried differentiating between outcome and output. You said to my best, let me say to a layman word now, because I don't want to quote it verbatim like I have it in my notes whatsoever. So you said an output is what we see of the result that is expected, the immediate result that is expected of a project, while the outcome is the service we get from the project. So that was when you painted the case scenario of a road, that if as an engineer who constructed a road, what we see as the output is the road, the just constructed road. But the outcome is the road after its establishment. Is it getting bad? Is it helping the economic role within that community? And many more, sir. So I think I would love to take a pause so that my fellow colleagues could also add their knowledge to it, sir.
All right, thank you so much, Babatunde. That was beautiful. Okay, Babatunde is calling on the bar to support his motion. So is there any other person who would like to add to the learning that we had last weekend? Okay, so we have Honorable Maruf. Please, kindly unmute, let's hear from you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. I would just want to add to what has been said. Yes, we discussed the case of Apollo and we discussed the difference between output, and we explained that output brings the clients while outcome keeps the clients. And we explained the quality of projects, and we spoke about we defined project management, and then we mentioned the tripods of project management, which has to do with the scope of the project, the time of the project, the budget available for the project, whether financial or human, the resources available, whether financial resources or human resources, any input that is involved, And all this come together to bring about, to define the quality of a project. And I think that's just what I wanted to add. And we're given assignments to engage our company and bring out the outputs and the outcomes so that we can understand it better. I think that's the addition I'd love to make.
Okay, so since your mic is still on, let's go to the next phase now of discussion. So were you able to bring the discussion to your organization?
Yes.
Okay, so give us your feedback. What are your what's your company into, and what will you categorize as your company's outputs and company's outcomes?
Okay. Usually, my company is into project development, project designs, project implementation, and also specifically, we have the primary objective from our own end of reducing unemployment in the country, and then and our activities are specific towards youth. So what I did was engage some of our colleagues, some of my colleagues, and I asked them certain questions to be able to understand their own view of and from them, I was unconsciously, they were able to give me the output, and I was able to separate the output from the outcome. So for the output of my country, of my company, mostly we are into training, training of youths, training of project professionals, design of projects and all. So for the output, it is actually, for us, it is the number of people we have trained. That is the number of people that has gone through the system and has been trained. And the number of proposals that we have written, the number of projects that we have designed for people. These are our own outputs. But overall, our outcomes have to do with how these projects that have been designed have been able to solve problems. Say, for instance, you design a project to reduce unemployment. As the project, when implemented, has it reduced unemployment? That is our outcome. Have project professionals been able to effectively deliver on their projects? Because we also train project professionals in financial management, in cost tab, in ex-post project evaluation, in result-based M&E. Now, after this training, yes, we would graduate them, we would give them certificates. But how effective are they when delivering? Yeah, those are outcomes. If they are able to effectively deliver, it also adds to our primary objective of reducing youth unemployment by increasing the capacity of project staffs that are involved in youth-driven programs. So for me, summary, output, number of trained people, number of people we've engaged. Those are outputs. Outcome, reduced unemployment, improved economic, socioeconomic, and improved socioeconomic life, improved livelihood primarily. Okay. Those are outcomes. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. So for your company, your output is the number of people you've been able to train. And then the outcome is the number of people who have been engaged in reducing unemployment. So as the unemployment reduced, as the youth contributed to unemployment, that's the outcome. All right, thank you. Okay, so do we have any other person who engaged his company within the week to be able to separate their company's output and their company's outcome? Please, any other person? I'm noticing that some people are having challenge with joining the class. I'm going to get a volunteer to help us with something. Okay, so we have Babatunde. Please, Babatunde, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. For my company, New Agro Global Enterprise, on engagement during the week, I was able to realize that farm productivity like we engage ourselves in is production is what we get, because we are into farm establishment and a whole lot of things in poultry, crop production and marketing. So productivity is majorly our output, but the outcome is that have we been able to have we been able to work with the Sustainable Development Goal, which aims at zero hunger in the country? It is a perfect no. The same thing is, have we been able to make secure food security? Have we been able to work towards food security? That is talking about the influence of our foods on health. There is virtually no egg we take in this country that is antibiotics free. Although we have the output, but yet the outcome, it has a deterrent effect on the lives of those people who consume it. And likewise, some of our agricultural produce too. So that is just what I see. And well, probably by the end of the project, we might see a paradigm shift into advocacy for organic agriculture in the country. So I so much appreciate that.
Okay, thank you so much. So your output is the productivity, and then the expected outcome is zero hunger. I love that. So one is a result, one is impact. All right, okay. Do I have any other person who would like to share with us? Do we have any other person? In fact, everybody's supposed to share, not some people will share, some people not, because it's an assignment. Remember, we all of us on Saturday, we said we are going to do that in our organization. So if you don't do that, you've already broken professional code. Number one, responsibility, which you will not. So let's have, if you will not raise your hand, I will really want to call you. Okay, so we have Adeyemi Caleb. Please kindly unmute and let's hear from you, sir.
Thank you very much, and good morning to you and to everyone present in the house.
Good morning.
Yes, well, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say, while we were talking last week, I had every reason. I saw every opportunity that could be open to us, or is open to us for me to be able to bring about positive change. And trust me, I know my company very well, and we need everything we discussed last week. But you know, there are peculiarities with companies, and there are areas of operations, there are limits of authorization, there are levels of operations of every individual. And so you may not have the power to actually force certain things. Meanwhile, you may have the ability to try. You may have that drive to try. Now, what I'm saying is this: we have every reason to practice everything we had last week. But when you're putting up a drive and the opportunity is not opening up for you to be actually table what you have in mind, then it becomes a problem. But I feel this coming week is an opportunity for me. We design software, but we need a well-structured manner or way of managing our projects. We've been successful, but I think we need to do more to be more successful. What we did last week was an eye-opener to show that we have every reason to do better than we've been doing, which means we could have been able to do more if we have a well-structured manner of handling projects, which was what we discussed last week. So I highlighted some things and I intended for us to discuss. But one, the company is going through certain issues. So some key persons are out of town to some of our sites in some other states to rectify issues. But I know we're having a meeting this coming Monday, which is this next tomorrow. So I intend bringing those things to the table respectfully, because you have to be tactful also, because you can't force it, especially when you are not at that level of authority where you can say, this is what I want us to do and this is what must be done. No. So that is where the situation I find myself in. So I'm actually doing this for my personal self and development, not because I feel the company would. I'm just hoping they would want to take it. We all know where we come from, but at least the self-development is good for every individual. That's the truth here.
All right, thank you so much for that. However, it's important for us to always put in mind that we are not asking that this should be enforced in our organizations. However, what we are saying is we should have a discussion. It mustn't be with top management. It must be, you can just have a discussion with one or two people within your organization. Okay, I'm doing this training. No, this is what I'm learning. So what do you think after differentiating what input and output or the output and outcome is? Then you try to get some views from them. Not that you're going to enforce it. We are not enforcing whatever thing we are learning. Rather, we are discussing it with them just to bring an enlightenment. All right. And then if you think your organization is too hierarchical, then you may have to just write it down and make a recommendation, not an enforcement, but a recommendation. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have Emmanuel Thomas or Thomas Emmanuel. Please kindly unmute and let's hear from you, sir. Okay, Thomas gone. Okay, please, Anthony Ozezwa, please kindly unmute, let's hear from you, sir. Anthony Ozezwa.
This is Anthony Ozezwa Bobokale. Good morning, class.
Good morning.
As regards the assignment, my company is the Bota Worldwide Limited, and we are into marketing and also logistics. Over the years, we have performed excellently, and but with so much challenges. And when this opportunity came, I came in to the project management, and I want to see how best we can improve in our product delivery and service delivery. As regards the assignment, the project, actually we want to go from the traditional adverts and logistic into e-commerce, whereby we can be able to deliver our service and products through online. So we are coming up with e-commerce, and we decide also to introduce the advert.com. The project be the e-commerce. We decide the output should be the website we have to put in place. That is our output, whereby we can be able to bring our buyers and sellers together through the use of the online shopping, the e-commerce. In essence, I'm looking at the output to be the website we are putting up, which will be advert.com. And then our outcome will be that they can be able to meet at a station, that is the online station that we are putting up for easy access to products and easy purchase of products without the traditional means of going to the open door, going to sources on the street. They can easily place their request to online and get their delivery on time. So we are looking at that the outcome will enhance quick delivery of products or quick purchase of products, and also quick delivery of products. That is exactly what we are looking at as the outcome of our output, the website which we are putting up.
Okay. So your outcome, you want customers to experience quick delivery in product purchase or something?
Yes,
okay.
Quick access to product online, and they can be able to source their product quickly by logging into the website. That is the outcome. They can be able to source the product quickly without having to travel long distance from one place to the other. So the outcome is for them to be able to log into the this thing. There is quick access to products or search of products. I think There is a quick access to product and search of products through our website. That is the outcome.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Okay, we are taking our time to get this, all of these discussions. So let's take Emmanuel Thomas. Please, Emmanuel, kindly unmute. Let's hear from you.
All right. A good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Based on the assignments about the output and the outcome, what I did was I decided to call some of my colleagues together in the office, and I explained to them what I've experienced so far and the course I'm taking and the difference between the outcome and the output. Now we should look at it critically. If the school itself had been practicing this thing, if that's what the way we operate. To my surprise, what I discovered was that we are just after the students paying their school fees. Once they pay their school fees, what they become after school is none of our business. Their social life is not, it doesn't concern us. What just after is come to school, read, pass your exam and go. So then I started making them understand that if we can actually do this thing better, these students, as they leave this school, the character shaping and everything, the way they react, the way they do things outside the school will bring more students to the school. Then from there, we started, discussing on how best that can be done, and they really appreciated it. And from there, I even used that means to meet with the principal of the school. I discussed it with her. Then from there, I requested for a recommendation letter in order to forge it, and which she was really happy to grant.
That's
So
beautiful.
it was really like, yes.
I pray she will not only grant you later, she will also grant you finance.
I feel so soon.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, is there another person who will want to share for the sake of time, so that we move on? Wait, Immaculata was in this class last week. Suleiman was in this class last week. Rose was in this class last week. Gabriela was in this class last week. Avimas was in this class last week. So before I come back to Mr. Caleb, I need to hear from those who were in this class. So Mr. Suleiman, I need to hear from you. Unmute and let's hear what you did over the week with what you've learned so far. Mr. Suleiman Okunega.
All right, good morning, sir.
Good morning,
and good morning, everybody.
Yeah.
Last week I learned a lot, and yeah, I didn't put up my hand to do the assignment last week. I remembered you called some of us that those of you that are not raising your hands, that something will be done. But essentially, my organization is an educational organization, just like the last person that spoke. And I think we discussed extensively about the organization, the output, the outcome last week, even during the class. And a lot of contributions came. Really looking at my own organization, I have discovered that is what we have been doing, and that has been our pursuit, that our output is making the students to write the examination and having good results. That's the output for every organization. And I think I said that last week as well. And then the outcome is getting admission into the universities. And like last speaker spoke, the character, the behavior of the students after school in the larger society is also part of the outcome of coming to school. And I think you buttressed that last week. And our own school, it's a core mission statement that our students, after leaving the school, must produce people that have global relevance, both academically and in character as well. And we've always pursued that in the school. So I really did not see that need of bringing up that kind of discussion again, because that is what we are doing actually. We endeavor to put the students, to follow up with the students even after school, to the universities, to their grades after university, where they work after university, and we have records of a good number of them like that in my school. So thank you very much, sir.
Sorry, I muted my mic, sorry. Okay, so I was saying that thank you, Mr. Suleiman, for perceiving that it might not be really needed, but it's important for us to always remember that business is all about innovation. Business is all about creativity, and creativity comes with more and more research and more brainstorming. So this is an assignment. So when you go back to your school, next week, please challenge what is existing, challenge, look at the market critically and find out if there are better or more outcomes that your organization can come up with. Thank God for the one you already have, but are there better outcomes or more outcomes that you can add, that can add to your competitive advantage? These are some of the things you now need to rethink in your discussion. Okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do that. Are there other better things we can think of? You can go into the future and get something that your clients will be better off with. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for that. Who else have we not heard from? Gabriela Opera, we've not heard from you. Gabriela Opera, you were in class last week, and I know you made a whole lot of contributions in the chat room. So tell us what was your experience within the week in your own organization. Gabriela? Is it that
good morning. I had a feeling you will call me, sir.
Yes, I have to call you.
All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, like the previous speaker had stated, I wasn't among those people that raised up my hand. And I know you singled us out and said something is going to be done, but let me just go ahead anyway. So I work in an educational institution as well. And the overall objective of the school organization is obviously to ensure maximum learning. And given the various units we are in, my unit especially, we deal in seminars and executive education programs. So our basic output was to ensure that, especially, okay, how the programs are set up in such a way is that we have the pre, we have the during, and we have the post activity, program activities. No, before we usually have the pre and the during activities. We had never had anything like post. So let me explain. The pre-activities had to do with us contacting our participants about what they expect to get or gain. Sorry, excuse me.
It's part of the class. Okay, so I guess she has executive people to attend to. Okay, I think that could be all for, okay. Honor. Is it Honor or Honor? Honor Immaculata. Honor Immaculata. You were in class last week. I saw you. I heard your voice last week. So Honor Immaculata, I know you're not in any hospital emergency now, so kindly answer to your name. Honor Immaculata, or if it sounds like your name, kindly unmute and let's hear from you. Honor, are you there? Honor is not responding. Okay, so without much ado, I've not seen Architect Adeyemi in this class this morning, and Abubakar Mohammed. Okay, Adeyemi Ajayi. Okay, I think I'm seeing you now. Okay, Abubakar Ajayi, Abubakar Mohammed. I've not seen him in this class. All right, Architect Adeyemi, over to you.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Once again, got timing wrong. Now, with regards to the topic at hand, the outputs and the inputs.
Output
yes.
and outcome.
Sorry, outputs and the outcomes. Sorry, thanks for correction, sir. Now, for me, I did the industry, and because of the company I run, I am both the decision maker and the one that's the leader. So what I learned from the outputs, in terms of outputs, from time the company setup was set up to provide quality outputs. Now, where I decided to focus on was, have the outcomes been as the clients whom we build for desired? To be honest, I didn't call anybody, but I just reflected. I checked on some of the jobs done before, and whether I had in such a time got back to the clients. Some few I did. Till now, I know I just finished one in Lekki, and I kept asking the client, "Oh, what do you think about the design? What is the end user, your family, how are they feeling in the building?" Because I told them, "Oh, there's some things, there's some deliverables in the design which were already part of the design of the building." So at the end of the day, the feedback was positive. Now, secondly, I now looked at it, I said, look, let me see if I could subordinate myself in another organization. Fortunately, I'm the secretary of a multi-purpose cooperative. So I looked at it, and we are just starting up the cooperative. So the outcomes, there is no output yet, but there are some outputs that we hope to deliver, both to the cooperative members and the general public, and we are in the process of initiating. So those are the things that at the end of the day, from the discussions had, I have decided that, okay, being the secretary and part of the executive committee, I would write down some outcomes that we hope the members of the cooperative have, especially in the area of investment by the cooperative, whereby everybody will be happy. But one of the outcomes we want is to create a lasting source of earning for our varied members. For the sake of security, we don't have to mention the type they are. So I think that's just it. But for my personal organization, so far we've been delivering good outputs. And for the few clients I can remember, the outcome seems to be better. But then I've also decided that, okay, I'll make it a standard practice to make sure I engage with clients, haven't finished the job, to find out if what outcomes, whether they are happy with what they've been, whether their desires have been met, how has the design affected them, what can we improve, how can we better our services. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. I guess everyone had lent a voice, apart from people, some people who could be having some executives around. So we don't want to disturb the executives. I still have Avimas. Avimas, please ensure to put your comment in the chat room. Tell us your experience in the chat room. For people having executives, please help us with your experience in the chat room. And then for those joining us for the first time today, you are welcome. Okay, so while we do all of that, we noticed that some people are having some challenges joining. Their network is quite unstable. So I'm providing the link for the YouTube live streaming so that you can, in case you log off, you can just use the YouTube link. But the only thing, like I said, is that you might not be able to ask questions there and get immediate response. Okay, so I've shared the link in case you need to, use YouTube. I've shared the link. Okay, so without taking much time, I would love us to continue with the class, but we already scheduled some things to do. So the first thing first, we need 3 persons to serve in the board. So the 3 persons will be the class governor, the deputy class governor, and then the PRO. So please kindly nominate the people you want to go. We do that very fast, and then we proceed. You can only nominate 1 person for 1 post. Kindly, let's do that very fast and we proceed. Please, let's use the chat room. Nominate the person's name. We did all the introduction last week. Do we need to do introduction again? Are we together? Oh, my God. Please, can we nominate for, no, we have deputy governor, provost, and governor. We don't have secretary, except you're assuming secretary to be provost now. Okay, so can we quickly nominate? From what we have here, Adeyemi Caleb is taking the lead for governor. So can we quickly nominate for deputy governor, please? Let's do that very fast. Okay, so we have Maruf for provost, Suleiman for provost. Can we do more? Any person that has extra vote, we win. Between Maruf and Suleiman now, any person that has extra vote, we win provost. Can we do that very fast? Okay, so Suleiman, someone is nominating Suleiman for deputy. Please, let's remember that we should be gender sensitive. This is a class of both male and female. Okay, Adeyemi Ajayi, deputy governor. Okay, so we have, let's finish with one first. Let's deal with deputy governor first. So we have one vote for deputy governor Suleiman, deputy governor Adeyemi Ajayi. So can we conclude on deputy governor's election? Then we'll move to the other one. Between Adeyemi Ajayi and Suleiman, please, I think that two is enough. Let's vote for the two. Can we be fast enough? If you're voting for Suleiman, just type 1-1. If you're voting for Ajayi, type 2-2. Suleiman 1-1, Ajayi 2-2. Suleiman 1-1, Ajayi 2-2. Suleiman 1-1, Ajayi 2-2. Suleiman 1-1, Ajayi 2-2. Can we do that very fast? You're voting for Suleiman 1-1, Ajayi 2-2. And then Emanuela also has been nominated. So if you're voting for Emanuela, 3-3. Suleiman 1-1, Ajayi 2-2. Emanuela 3-3. Okay, voting. Counting has started. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So Suleiman has 4. Ajayi, how many? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Emanuela has how many? Let's see. Emanuela has 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have Suleiman 4, Emanuela 4. So between the two, we have to know who will go. So we need an odd vote to balance up. Suleiman is 4, Emanuela is 4. So we need an odd vote to balance off. So we need one person to vote for. Okay, so the Emanuela has Kukuma. Wait, Emanuela, is it the same with Immaculata? Where is Emanuela? See. Please, who is Emanuela? I'm just seeing. How do we mean to say Emmanuel? I'm only seeing Immaculata. I don't see Emmanuel like this. Is it Emmanuel we meant to vote for? That we are now writing. Okay, you people wanted to vote Gabriela, and then you now voted for Emanuela. Okay, so let's take the deputy to no, you cannot refuse now. It's just something you do for fun, not that there's no serious work in it. Except you're saying that you're not going to continue the class. That is understandable. But if you're going to continue the class to the end, I think it's good you take up. So Gabriela Opara, thank you so much. And then secretary, finally, I think so far so good. Maruf is the only one that has, provost, that have been nominated for provost. So undeniably, with the veto power upon me, I declare Maruf the provost of this class. Okay, so quickly, what are the roles of the board? Just to ensure that the class information is strictly passed to everyone, assignments are followed up, coordination within the class is handled. So from next week, as we come to class, all the class executives will be co-hosts, so that should there be any need to admit anybody or mute anybody, yes. The provost will strictly be involved or directly involved with admitting people or muting people and not unmuting people. Now, the president or the governor is responsible for any form of meeting that need to hold. If you want to have any meeting or discussion, if you want to create a WhatsApp group for yourself, it is the president that will decide that, okay? And then other things will follow suit. And then importantly, the deputy will act on behalf of the president or on behalf of the governor when he is not around, okay? So the deputy will act on behalf of the, so should there be any other thing you want to do? Induction is coming up December 1st and 3rd, 1st to 3rd rather. Should you want to have any special program for yourself within that period, it is left for the class board to have that discussion and then find a way to communicate with their group members. Do we have any question? Can we please welcome with a clap offering? Shall we please welcome our board? Please, everyone, let's give them a good clap and welcome them on board. We welcome you. Thank you for accepting to work with us. So we need to hear from the governor, we hear from the deputy governor, and then we hear from the provost, and then we will continue with our class. So there is no more bureaucracy now. Okay, so class governor, please, we are unmuting you. At the same time, we are making you a co-host. Class provost, your work starts now. So we are unmuting you. At the same time, we are making you a co-host. So should there be need to unmute anybody, subsequent times, you will be the one unmuting. Gabriela, we are unmuting you. At the same time, we're making you a co-host, right? Okay, so let's hear from the class governor. In 30 seconds, let's hear from you.
Thank you very much for the privilege to serve. At least Dr. Benito says it is fun. I'm sure there is a lot required in any responsibility, and I promise I will do our best. The board will do our best to make sure that we are all comfortable within the group, within the period, or for the batch. We'll do our best to make sure that everybody is comfortable. We'll lead a peaceful batch, and we'll be able to we'll also be matured in handling our duties, our rights. We also need your help for us to do our work well. Thank you very much for the privilege. I'm very grateful to you all. For those who nominate.
Thank you so much. So let's hear from the deputy. Gabriela, please, let's hear from you.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to thank everyone on this platform for nominating me as deputy of this cohort. I want to assure you that I'll try my possible best to be supportive, to be a team player, and to also listen to everyone's views. This is not an autocratic role, it's a democratic role. And I want to assure you that we put everybody's interest in place. And I also plead with everyone that please, let's try and work together. Let's try to be supportive of one another. Anywhere we feel, or anyone we feel who is lagging behind, let's try and pick the person up. We're our brother's keeper. And that's all I have to say for now. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right, thank you so much. And let's hear from our honorable provost. Please, provost, over to you. Provost has left without consent. When he come back, he will give his reception speech. Okay, so thank you, everyone, and we really appreciate. We believe this diet is going to be fun. Now, it is left for the board, when you form your WhatsApp group, if need be, within the group, within the entire body, everyone involved, you decide the name you will call your set, so that if you're addressing them, you know what to call them. Examples of names could be maybe Game Changers, Dynamite, Trailblazers. Just choose one name that suits what you think is for you. And please, you can do that in the WhatsApp group, and then you tell us what the name is, and then we'll follow up. All right, thank you so much. Now, without much ado, shall we proceed with this class? We've learned a little in the first class, and we've come to learn more. So in the last class, one of the things we learned, and I would like us to review again, is that we looked at what a project is, and we looked at the triple constraint, where we had time or schedule, we had budget or resources, and then we had scope or the plans. All right, so that was more of what we did last week, and I think every one of us understood that chart. Every one of us understood that chart. Now, today we are going to look at the project management context. And in this, we are going to be looking at the project phases and the project lifecycle. We'll look at the enterprise environmental factors. We'll look at organizational process assets. We'll look at project stakeholders. We'll look at organizational influences on project. We'll look at key general management skills. We'll look at socio-economic influences on project. Now, when you look at what we have here, the first thing we have there is phases, project phases, phase. And then the second thing we have attached to it, or we are comparing it with, is the life cycle. All right. So like we all already know, our classes here are discussionary, and every one of us here have some sort of knowledge about project management or the likes. So can we quickly look at this together? When we say a phase in the literal English meaning, what does it mean? When we say a life cycle in the literal English meaning, what does it mean? Can we please have contributions on that? What do we mean by a phase, and what do we mean by a phase, and what do we mean by life cycle? Can someone please go ahead and share with us? A phase, when we say a phase, like the spelling we have there, and then we have life cycle. What does that mean? Okay, so we have Mr. Friday. Mr. Friday, you're welcome on board. Kindly unmute and let's hear from you.
Okay, thank you so much, able facilitator and everyone present. Good morning, good afternoon once more. To me, a phase is just a distinguished aspect of a circle. Let me put it that way. So a particular aspect of that will make up a circle is a phase. That's how I see it.
A part of a circle is a phase. All right, thank you. Do I have any other contributor? What is a phase and what is a life cycle? Thomas said a phase means a stage or part of something. Okay, thank you. Babatunde's hand is up. Please, Governor, can you please unmute Babatunde in the absence of Provost? Babatunde, please, if you're unmuted, kindly unmute and then go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you, distinguished facilitator. I stand a chance to see a phase as a part of a process, while life cycle has to do with all that has to do with the existence of a particular thing. So it's something that revolves around the existence of a particular thing, right from its initiation to the point it's not going to exist again.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have just one more contributor? Gabriela said phase or phases. Phase is a distinct period or stage in a series, while life cycle is a series of changes. All right, thank you. Okay, so we've had enough contribution. So from all of what we've gathered now, it is obvious that we can now agree that a phase is a stage or a period in a series of periods or in a series of stages. Okay, so a phase is just a stage, while life cycle is a combination of series of stages, right? Now, in that regard, when you bring the two together, it simply tries to tell us that projects are carried out in phases, and these phases are collated in life cycle. Just like Babatunde said, he said the stages involved in the existence of a thing, right? So, for instance, you have the life cycle of a man. Can someone give us the life cycle of a man? Remember those days we do life cycle of mosquito, life cycle of cockroach. For those of us that did biology, life cycle of butterfly. We've learned something though. Our PRO is back. So when when we are done and we are going on break, he will give us his reception speech. Okay, so can someone give us example of a life cycle? Can give us life cycle of a man, life cycle of a product, life cycle of whatever you wish to give us life cycle on. Can you give us an example? That's the stages involved in the development of something. I think man is a simple one. Can someone give us the life cycle of a man? Men and brethren, please. Can we do that very fast? The life cycle of a man. Okay. So we have Ade Mikeleb's hand up. So Provost, your work is that whenever people raise their hand, you'll be the one to moderate the conversation. Okay, so Provost, kindly help us unmute. No, President is already unmuted. So let him go ahead. President, go ahead. Let's hear from you.
Okay, from a little study of psychology, it starts from an embryo. A man starts by being at the stage of being an embryo, and then he is born into an infant, as an infant, after which he grows into the early and the late stages of infancy, and then he grows into the teenage, being a teenager, and then he grows into an adolescent stage, and then afterwards he becomes an adult. I think basically those are the basic stages I remember.
Okay. Then from becoming an adult, now become an old adult. Okay, so Babatunde said conception, fertilization, fetus, baby, adolescent, puberty, and adult. Architect Ajayi said conception, birth, nurturing, adulthood, old age, and death. Thank you for adding that there too. Somebody did not add death before. The person didn't want to die. Okay, so thank you for adding that death. Okay, so if you look at life cycle of the man, is basically from when the young man or when the man or woman gets into the, whether I'm right or wrong, I'm just saying literally, okay? When he gets to being in the womb, then from the womb to becoming a baby to all of the other processes, till the person dies. Those are the stages. Now, if you notice, you find out that each of these stages are peculiar. Okay, each of these stages are peculiar. Now, for instance, what happens in the period of conception in human existence? What happens in conception is different from what happens at birth. Is different from what happens at the nurturing stage. Is different from what happens at the teenager, adolescent, or generally puberty, and then you have the adult, and then you have what happens at death. Also, someone is adding another one now, reincarnation. Okay. So whichever one we're adding. But the fact that each of these stages are distinct, and in the absence of any of these stages, man cannot be complete. The existence of man cannot be complete. The existence of man cannot be complete. In the same way, when we are going through projects, we must be careful to identify all of the phases in the project. Our inability to identify the distinct phases in a project can lead to the project failure. Our inability to identify the distinct phases in a project can lead to project failure. And I'll give you an example. Some times ago, I can't remember exactly, but in my around 2012, 2009, 2012, 2013, 2014, I was in a training. And that training was in either Sokoto or Kebbi, one of those states. I was teaching a project management training. And then I asked a question in the class, like I may ask in this class now. Somebody may tell me something else. I asked in the class, I said, can someone please tell me the stages involved in making moi moi? Someone could think it's a very simple question, of which it is. But if you don't know the process and you miss it, or if you don't know the phases and you miss the phases, you might end up having akara or having something else that is not moi moi. Because in that class, someone told me, he said, you get the beans, we said yes. You salt the beans, we said yes. He said, then you fry the beans, and that will give you moi moi. So to that person, the expected output in his head is moi moi, but the phases involved will not even lead to akara. That would be like granite beans, because by the time you get the beans, salt the beans, and then fry it, you end up having granite beans. That's mismatch of phases. It can always result to giving you project failure, giving you bad output, and then at the end of the day could bring bad reputation to your organization, and contract could be lost. Okay. Now, if we go back to the first case study we looked at, where we looked at Apollo, we had iron. If we look at the phases involved, we find that one of the challenges of that particular project, why most of those things happened, is that the project was not phased well. It wasn't broken down well. Okay, if you break the project down well, then you will have to understand the different phases and then the expectations. Each of the now not all phases may have outcomes, but each phase must have an output that will contribute to the expected outcome. I'll repeat this again. Not all the phases might have an outcome, but each of the phase is expected to have an output that will contribute to the expected outcome. All right, that is very, very important. All right, that's very, very important. Okay, so in project management, as simple as project breakdown is, breaking down your project into phases, as simple as it is, if you miss a very critical stage or critical phase, you might end up having another product entirely. Okay, you might end up having another product entirely. Now, listen, there's a difference between a phase and a process. Okay, there is a difference between a phase and a process. A process is the group of activities involved in a phase to deliver a particular output. Now, the other day, I went to eat food, okay? And then the food, I requested for rice, white rice with stew and moi moi. Now, when I got the moi moi was like pap. You know, there's a way, if you don't prepare moi moi very well, it will end up being like pap, almost like watery, thick custard. That's what it looked like. So I didn't touch the moi moi, because if I just touch my fork inside the moi moi, it will just pass down, no resistance, nothing. So I didn't touch the moi moi. Now, what happened? Yes, the phase could have been followed, but the process could have not been followed. Are we getting something? So there is a difference between a phase and a process, and then there is a difference between a phase and a life cycle. Now, each of these components are very, very vital when it comes to breaking down projects, when it comes to analyzing projects, and then when it comes to implementing projects. All right, when it comes to implementing projects. So this is very, very critical. All right, this is very, very critical. Now, if you will agree with me, the educational system, almost everywhere in Nigeria as a case, or maybe everywhere across Ghana, could be the same. But you will agree with me that the phases, by the time we pass through the phases altogether, the systems that we pass through, the processes that we pass through in the phases, now create the differences that we have as individuals. I don't know whether you're getting something. I want us to create some sort of synergy and harmony in all we are learning. Last week, we differentiated between outcomes and outputs, right? And then, now listen to me. When we follow through certain phases, okay, if the phases are in order, we might end up having the same output, right? But the quality of the output that will now determine the outcome will now vary based on the processes involved in the phases that led to the output. For instance, all of us go to school from pre-nursery, we go to primary to secondary to university, and then we'll end up being graduate. But you agree with me that not all graduates have the same intellectual capacity. Not all graduates have the same problem-solving abilities. Yes, we might have passed through the same phases, but the processes involved in the phases might not be the same for us from different schools or different educational backgrounds. Are we getting something? Let me be sure I'm not confusing somebody. Did we get something there? If you understood what I'm trying to say, please type 11 in the chat room. If you did not understand it, type 00. If you understood what I'm trying to explain, please type 11 in the chat room. If you did not understand it, please type 00. If you understood, can you imagine? Chilaka. All this stuff you say you did not understand, and you allow me to be talking all this while. Oh, God have mercy. Not even one person understood me. Wait. And you just allowed me. I'm just going. Okay. All right, so let's explain it again. So let's take it gradually. Last week, the final agreement we had was that there's a difference between an output and an outcome, right? Now, listen, I said that from the definitions we've had there, a phase is just a part or a stage of a project. A phase is a stage or a part of a project. Okay? Now, I was not trying to explain certain things that though a project might be well-phased, but the processes, the systems involved in the phases might end up giving us different results. And I tried to give an example. I said, first of all, I said that if we don't pay attention to breaking down the project very well, so as to have these phases pertaining to the project that will give the expected result, we might end up failing in the project. That's what. So we have to pay attention in breaking down the project into the appropriate phases that will give the expected output for each of the phases in the project. That's one. Now, I try to establish that another thing important we must pay attention to is that though a project might be well-phased, but the processes involved might affect, that's the processes in each of the phases or the systems in each of the phases may affect the quality of the output in each of those phases. And I tried giving an example. I said I went to a restaurant to eat and I requested for white rice and beans, and moi moi. But the moi moi they gave me was looking watery. Okay, it wasn't looking like the normal moi moi we used to know. Okay, now what happened is that there is a possibility that that moi moi could have passed through the phases, but the process now involved in the phase that would have made it maybe a little stronger or firmer, that process was not adequate enough, and that moi moi came out on the other side as moi moi, but not a firm moi moi. Okay, so we must pay, while we are facing a project, we must pay attention, one, to identify it, the phases in a project so as to get the result. At the same time, we must pay attention to the activities or the processes involved in that phase to make sure that the result, the expected output is gotten. Now, did you understand what I am trying to say? If you understood it, type 11. If you did not understand it yet, type 00. If you understood it, type 11. If you did not understand it, type 00. Okay, thank you. So Mr. Suleiman said yes, that's why every process should have a documented process flowchart. Okay, thank you. So we'll still get to that. All right, now that we've explained what a phase is, and maybe the intricacies, a little of the intricacies involved in phases, now what then is a life cycle? Life cycle, like we just established, is just from the collection of all the phases in the project from beginning to the end. From beginning to the end. The life cycle is the collection from beginning to the end. Now, I also want to establish something here again. Now that we have been able to break down the project into phases and we know all the phases, now if in the life cycle we mismatch the life cycle, then we will end up with another product or another output entirely. Let's take, for instance, we want to produce moi moi, and then from the little I know, when you want to produce moi moi, phase one is possibly going, apart from procurement of the raw materials, phase one is possibly going to be sorting of the beans and then washing of the beans. And then you go to grinding of the beans, and then you come to mixing with ingredients, and then putting inside leather or putting in a container, and then boiling to become ready. That's the little I know. Now, let's assume that that is actually the phase or the phases, and then we'll now change the life cycle of that moi moi in the production process or in the life cycle. In the life cycle, we now change the process. We now said, or we change the phases. We now said the first thing we'll do is that we'll sort the beans. Outside of procurement, we'll sort the beans, we'll wash the beans, then we will now boil the beans to be ready. Then we now bring the beans, then grind the beans, and then serve the beans. Will that in any way give us the expected output, which is moi moi? It will not. It will give us something done, maybe porridge beans or something else, but it will not give us the moi moi we expected. So in the life cycle, you must be sure to make sure that the round holes are put on a round peg, or the round pegs are put in a round hole, while the square pegs are put in a square hole. That's what we are trying to say in life cycle collection. All right. Okay. Do I have any question on this? Any question for me so far? Okay. I trust we are together. Do I have any question, any issue of concern I need to address before we move on to other things? Okay. Okay, so I have a question. So kindly unmute, let's hear from you.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to say, from what you've explained and from some of the things that my colleagues have been putting on the chat, I drew a process and I want to see if I'm correct.
Okay.
The first one I drew was process, then an arrow, phase, then an arrow, life cycle. So after review of some of the comments I saw on the chat room, I withdrew another one, processes, an arrow that points to phases, an arrow that points to cycles, then an arrow that points to project, which means we would have a set of processes that will form phases, and phases that forms life cycle, and life cycle that forms a project. Am I correct? Or is there anything I'm missing out there?
I don't think you're missing anything out. I think you're correct.
Thank you.
From my own point of view, you're correct. Maybe someone could say something else. Or from the little we've explained, that is exactly what we're trying to say. So there are processes inside phases, and those phases are collected in life cycles, and those life cycles are under projects. All right. Okay. So we have Maruf's hand. Oh, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much. You know, when these classes are going on, I try to link them to experiences that I've had over the years conducting projects, and this particular one reminds me of a particular time when the project cycle was a year, but within the project cycle, there were phases, which we call components or parts. So in these phases, we have the selection phase. We have, during the selection phase, there are smaller processes that are involved in that selection phase. The first level selection, the shortlisting, the interviews and all. So the criteria that we use for selection, now I'm trying to link it to an example of how a phase affected the total project. Now, in that particular phase of selection, after selection, there's training for sure, or whatever the project is. So during the phase of selection, the outcome for the project, the objective of the project is to churn out people who would either be employed or people who would pursue businesses. But 70% of the people we're supposed to churn out are supposed to be people who are going to be trained for employment. Now, during selection, we made a mistake. Let me put it that way. We selected people who had not graduated yet. And we wanted, the outcome of the project was supposed to employ those people as managers. Now, the requirement for the industry is that you are at least a graduate of either OND, HND, or BSc. But then the selection, we selected SSC, people who after the project were not even ready to be employed yet. So this particular phase affected the project life cycle, affected the project in general. That means we ended up turning out people who were not willing to deliver the outcome, or who are not willing to be part of what we are trying to pursue as a project implementer. I don't know if I am explanatory enough with that.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much for bringing that life experience. I think that goes a long way in explaining the place. I said, if you make, you can have a good phase, but the processes in the phase can affect the output, the expected output. All right. And when we get to scope management, that's when we'll take all the time to talk about what they call it now, phases, relationship, configuration, and then critical milestones and critical phases and all of that. Now, when you are dealing, just like a little GP, when you are dealing with phasing of a project, there are some phases that if you omit them, you can find a way to amend and then come up with still the expected output. But there are phases that if you make mistake in them, it's either you have a failed project or you are starting the whole project afresh, or you change the objective of the project and start another one afresh. Do you get what I'm trying to say? The processes, therefore, inside the phases must be adequate enough to give the expected output from that particular phase, because at the end of the day, it's going to yield to the outcome. All right, I think we have gathered some information relevant enough. We can proceed. Okay, do I have any other question? I think more of what we had is contribution, not really question. Okay, so let's move a little and see what we have. And please, as we're going through this course or this class, let's find the possible way to correlate it to what we do. Okay. Sometimes ago, I used to train, more of my trainings used to be around NYC. Yeah. So I had a whole lot of people. Someone's mic is open. But at some point, I discovered that the people you're even teaching in NYC, they were not even understanding what you are saying. The more you try to explain, the more you're not just connecting. Okay. Some of them, in fact, I will not say some. If you're running professional programs in NYC, almost 99.9% of them are there because they want to get a certificate that will give them a job, not application purpose. And those category of people are the ones we call associate. They don't have the experience to bring them to the application level. Okay, please, just a moment, I will be with you. All right, sorry, I had some people making noise in the other side. I need to go and face them. Okay, so at that point, I realized that most of them were just coming for job purposes and all of that. And that was affecting the expected outcome we were expecting as an organization. So at some point, we had to say, okay, we need to redefine NYC program. In fact, now if we go to NYC, we don't even offer associate program because even at associate, they still find it difficult to understand what you're trying to say. So basically, you give them project management fundamentals. When they come out and they go to organizations, they go to work in organizations and they are back. They can also, they begin to create little relationship between the foundation they've had. And then by the time they are coming back, you can bring them in as associate. At associate level, after going through the foundation, it is easier for them to easily connect with you. And then by the time they come up to become lead, it's easier then. They will be the ones, you will see the practical outcome from their own behavior changes and all of that. So that is a little adjustment we have to do in the phasing of our training program. Okay, so now if we are going to NYC, we don't do what they call it. Say we are doing professional training and then you're starting from lead level. It's not possible. If you like have first class, is not just possible because you don't have the adequate experience to help you understand the whole concept of what the profession is all about. So importantly, all of us, as we are in this class, I believe up to 80 to 90% of the people here are here because of application. Any other thing will be on just supporting the application, not really that you're here because you want to get a job. Well, if you're here because you want to get a job, that's awesome. But importantly, this class is meant for those who will try to comprehend what is being taught and then try to apply it. They see the application as your teaching. Okay, that is to us the category of people we are dealing with. All right. So importantly, when you're running project phases, is good. You see the outcome before you even start breaking down the project, so that you will know exactly what to expect as an output from each of the phases, right? Okay, thank you so much. I'm seeing a hand up, and that is Aziz. Aziz, please, Provost, can you please unmute Aziz Raji? Let's hear from him, and then we'll proceed. Please, Aziz Raji, kindly unmute. If the Provost has unmuted, you kindly unmute.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead. Welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. So I just have a little question to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
And so, yes, sir, of what relevance is the proactive measure in conception of project execution? Can I come again?
No, the transport is very expensive. Don't come again. Okay, of what relevance is the proactive measures taken in project execution? You know, this your question now is like a lecturer. You're asking an academic question, but let's bring it to the professional environment. Your question is exactly all we've been trying to explain. Preventing the problems before they occur. That's what we've been trying to explain. And that's the proactive measures in question here.
Exactly.
Okay. So when you are taking a project, let me go back to that moi moi that I used as an example. You have, let's assume now that you don't even know how to prepare moi moi at all. And you don't just want to go ahead preparing what you think should be moi moi. Part of the proactive measures you will have to take might be consulting, asking questions, getting an expert who will put you through. The expert will help you break it down, how the whole process will go, and then begin to tell you, okay, this is the first thing you do, this is the second thing you do. Now begin to put it in order. By taking such steps, by relevance, you're cutting off undue costs. You're cutting off cost of redo. Because we said something last week that when the expected outcomes of a project is not gotten, there is a possibility that you may end up redoing the project, which may multiply the cost. That was what happened to the case study we used last week, right? Then proactively too, by the time you take proactive measures in project planning first before we go to implementation, by the time you take proactive measures in initiation and in planning, you find that the quality of the project will be agreed on before you even start. Take, for instance, an architect wants to build a house. He designs the house and takes the house to the owner of the house. Imagine, in imagination, he explains the whole component of the house to the person, and the person sees himself in the house and tells you, yes, this is the house I want. In the same imagination that the architect is trying to put in the mind of the owner of the house, if there is something that he was expecting and is not in the house, by imagination, he will tell you, no, this one is not supposed to be here. Why don't you put it this way? Those are the proactive effects or the strategic effect of proactive investment or proactive engagement in project initiation and planning, which will result to a stress-free execution. The loggerheads with stakeholders will not be there. And then issues of costing, overrun, and then redo will not be there. So when we take proactive measures, for instance, doing the accurate phasing of project, doing accurate life cycle collection, then at the end of the day, project implementation will be easier, stakeholder communication will be easier, engagement will be easier, quality will be understood, and everybody will be on the same page. Now, please, Provost, let's find out whether Mr. Aziz understood us. If he's still in class, or mute him. Let's ask him whether he understood us. Please, or mute Dr. Aziz Raj. Let's understand whether he understood what he said. Yes, sir, you're welcome. Did you understand the explanation we gave?
Yes, sir. Very, very clear. I got it clear. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Now, I love this question you asked. Why I love this question is that in the introductory part of this class last week, we established in one sentence that organizations are beginning to adopt projectized structures, projectized systems in businesses, rather than the traditional business processes that we follow. Now, I will give you just a purview of what this proactive approach of project inclusion does in business. Now, if you notice in some businesses, there are businesses, or in general terms, what most business people do is that they just come to the market and all of a sudden they feel like, oh, customers need pure water, and they enter into the market and start producing pure water. There was no adequate time to carry out business case study or business need analysis, business case relevance. There was no adequate phasing. If you look at market trend and market analysis, those things were not adequately followed. And if you watch those businesses, and another thing is that in the process of that introduction of that product to the market, the person that is introducing this product or the company that is introducing this product might not know the level of business saturation, the degree of market saturation for that particular product. And at the same time, in the industry, he or she might not know the phase that that particular business is in the industry. Is the business at the entry phase? Is the business at the upcline phase? Is it at the maturation stage? Is it at the decline stage? Is it at the exit stage? Most of us don't know. But now that we are beginning to adopt projectile structures, before businesses come into, before companies come into any business, they would have followed due diligence in establishing at least the need for the product, the level of the market, the level of saturation in the market. They would have also established this particular product that we want to bring in. Is it at entry level in the industry? Is it at the climbing stage in the industry? Is it at the maturation stage? Is it at decline? Or is it phasing out? Okay. Now, I will give you an example. Maybe you understand a little. The people that are doing telecom now, please follow me. The people that are doing telecom now as a business versus the people that did telecom in 2000, 2003, 2004, 2005, please, which of them made more money? Can you agree? Which of them made more business money? Let's say they made more profits. Is it now or is it in the earlier stages? Okay, so someone says in the earlier stages. Okay, does any other person has any separate view? The telecom industry, do you think is still booming or is has gradually started phasing out? The truth is, if you look at the telecom industry, those that came in earlier, those that brought in the innovation, they were actually the people that made the most. Competition was almost zero when they came in. Competition was almost zero, but now the market is super saturated. That before you think of coming into the telecom industry now, you have to think and think and think. Now, if you look at recharge card business for a case in the telecom industry, when recharge card came out in the earlier stages, if you were dealing with recharge card business, you were a big boy. But now these banks have taken the business of recharge card. Online financial tools or financial platforms are taking the business of recharge. So if you even ask now, how many of us have actually, like this week, you went to a kiosk and bought a recharge card? If we ask, maybe 1 or 2 persons, if any. Okay. All right. So it's important that using projectile structures, organizations get to understand better. Now, let's take another case study. Let's take a case of running business case, establishing business case before coming in. Take, for instance, SpectraNet. SpectraNet in telecom. SpectraNet in telecom. You know SpectraNet? Yeah. SpectraNet in telecom in Nigeria. SpectraNet in telecom in Nigeria now might be doing better than Etisalat, might be doing better than MTN, might be doing better than Airtel when it comes to routers, when it comes to data. Do you know why? They created a niche in the market. Why MTN, Airtel, Etisalat, Globe were busy focusing on building big masks. Those guys were busy focusing on building small gadgets, smaller receptive gadgets that you can use in your house. So that created a different market for them. So that's why I said, before you now come into the market, like telecom, you need to think and think and think and think and think before you come in. If you want to come and do what others are doing, you might just fizzle out in a twinkle of an eye. Now, take another case, and I want us all to look at it together. Remember, in this class, at the end of each class, every group is to come up with a case study, right? And so I'm giving out different cases now. Take, for instance, the case of the financial industry. Financial industry. Now, for instance, when you compare financial companies like what do people call them? OPay, Paystack, Flutterwave, Simple Pay, and all of those guys. When you compare those guys to the present day banking, if they wanted to, those guys in fintech, if they wanted to start a bank, maybe before they die, that's when they will achieve that. But it won't be as fast as. And if they wanted to make profit, it wouldn't have been as fast as. What created the difference was introduction of something new. And that was a project that disrupted the financial industry. There was a project they introduced, and that project disrupted the financial industry. As it were today, the fintech industry, in fact, people like Flutterwave, I heard that Flutterwave is about $5 billion or so worth. The worth of Flutterwave, is it $5 billion or $500 billion, something like that? Then Paystack is over $10 billion. Now, the question is, how many companies, financial companies in Nigeria or across the globe have such worth in the shortest time that these companies came into existence? Now, these are some of the things we now look at when we now begin to consider proactive relevance of projects in business introductions. Last week, Gabriela was mentioning something like agile approach to projects and all of that. These things are not like the traditional systems of business. They are the agile approaches of running businesses. I want to ask another question here. It's something that is currently happening. How many of us have heard this trending news of government charging those on social media businesses? You do digital marketing, you do your business online. They are now introducing VAT. They are introducing tax to people. How many of us have heard of that trend going on? So now, if you have a store on Facebook, they will charge. You pay VAT on it. You pay tax on it. You have a store on Instagram. You pay for it. You do digital marketing for people. You pay for it. Now, listen. Before this advent, there was nothing like tax. In fact, government never considered social media as a part of income. But last 2 years, I was in a conference, Nigeria conference, and they made a shocking statistics about the contribution of the businesses on social media to the GDP. The president was there. It was an eye-opening. I knew immediately from that conference that for government to have given themselves time to go on this research, they are after that industry. And that's why we'll talk about the first mover advantage. In every industry, there is always what we call the first mover advantage. For us in projects, I will not advise any project manager to do it like others are doing it. Find out a niche that you'll be the first mover. Disrupt the market, get the attraction to yourself. By the time other competitors are coming in, you're moving on to the next project. That's why all of us are here, to make sure that our minds are not working like the businessman, but is working like a project manager who want to create sustainability, rather than a businessman who want to keep doing the same thing and still want to keep having profit and same result of increased profit. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Now, I said, so I was having a class recently, and I was sharing some things there. I said, it was a pre-thought I thought about it. I said, very soon in Nigeria, you see this cryptocurrency that government have been fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting because they don't understand it. The day they finally get, whether they understand it or they don't understand it, somebody someday will just come up and say, to stop this crypto madness, let's put tax on it. And by the time we put tax on it, people will start withdrawing. It will definitely come to that point someday. Okay, you just come to that point. They say, okay, oh, these crypto people is like they are making money there. Oh yeah, let's have Ministry of Cryptocurrency. Their duty is to collect tax for government on crypto income, and it will happen. Okay, I just found out that all around the world, governments of the world are not creative. They are just they behave like communists. So people bring up ideas, bring up businesses, they just watch you for a time. As soon as they see that you're making wave in the industry, they charge your innovation, they charge your patent, they charge whatever thing you're bringing in. And by the time you know it, that particular industry becomes monopolistic. They try to regulate it by putting up some standards, some conditions that newcomers might not be able to come in. So what it simply means is that people that are doing comedy online, using Facebook to promote their comedies, they will soon start charging them. People that are using YouTube, they will start charging them VAT. Okay, that's funny. But that is part of the disruptions that are coming in through ideas. Anytime you hear of project, every project is a product of an idea. So the seed of every project is an idea. Okay, all right. I know I've said several things now, but I guess I've made sense in some way. Okay, I guess I've made sense in some way. Now, by the time we return back to our businesses on Monday, one of the things we should be looking at is, well, this project we've been doing it this way, can we get an exact phase for this project? Now we begin to rethink each of those phases. Can we come up with something new that can disrupt this, our industry, and bring in what do you call it now? Bring in clients towards our side? Okay. Yeah. How many of us still remember Nokia? You remember Nokia? If you remember Nokia, if you ever knew Nokia, type 1 in the chat room. If you ever knew Nokia, type 1 in the chat room. Now, I want to ask a question. What pushed Nokia out of the market? Specifically, can someone tell us what pushed Nokia out of the market? Can someone tell us what pushed Nokia out of the market? Okay, please. Provost, kindly unmute Mr. Anthony.
Yeah.
Mr. Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, it was the introduction of Android phone.
Okay.
And the Nokia didn't have that application of Android phone.
Okay.
And the Android took advantage of the market.
Okay. Okay.
I think
Thank
so.
You so much. Okay, you think so? Okay, thank you. All right. Now let's look at something. A lot of information in the chat room said innovation. Thank you so much for that. But can someone specifically tell us what did that innovation do that changed the whole market? The innovation that they brought in, can someone tell us what did that innovation do that changed the whole market? And that change in market pushed Nokia away. Cost effectiveness was. Can someone tell us what is that innovation? What did it do? What did it do? What did that innovation do that then pushed Nokia away from the market?
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're asking to unmute, right? Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, I used to be a very ardent user of Nokia in those days, but I observed as soon as Android I think majorly Android came in, which was an open source kind of software, which most phones who were ready, most accessory device, builders who were ready to go on this Android could actually port on it. Now, I observed I remember there was a time we were trying to port in my room when I was in school, trying to port Android applications on Nokia phones. I discovered that facility didn't take it much. In fact, after we succeeded in doing that, we knew that phone must be maybe gone by the time we were done, because certain functions will not be working. When you're in school, you play with a lot of things. I remember we were successful in our room then, but certain things were not working. And by the time you were trying to get it back to Symbian, which was the old mobile application then on Nokia, it was a bit difficult. In fact, we lost some of those phones. Of course, we were ready. They were old phones, and we're just trying to work on seeing if they can work. So they were not really ready. I feel they did not really prepare their phones to actually accept other platforms. And Android was one application that can go on so many other phones. So many other phones were able to easily accept them. It was open source. It was almost free for so many people. But then Nokia found it difficult to be able to, even that change was difficult. We remember when they came, they joined Microsoft at one point, Windows Phone at one point. After that period, they didn't do well. In fact, I think that was the end of it. And recently now we are having just a few Nokia now having Android built on them. But we discovered there are still very few. So some of them cannot even come back. They don't have a second-hand value again.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's hear from Adeyemi Ajayi, architect Adeyemi Ajayi, please. Unmute him, please. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. It is fortunate that I was involved in the telecom sector via rolling out Globalcom.
Okay.
So the Nokia debacle at that time is what happened to the Apple Corporation and the IBM. They did not react to change quickly, and they did not, maybe their forecasting was wrong. They did not see the swing in the market. At that time, IBM, Apple, Nokia were very elitist, and they focused on a segment of the market. But with more information, the information age, the masses and more youths were to access the internet gateway. So Android gave that platform. It gave the platform for open source. The open source nature of Android gave the access that people needed. Many people were doing apps that were able to run on Android. So they became more the go-to brand for phones. Now, Microsoft too tried to enter into the phone market via Nokia. But Microsoft thinking their success in Windows will give them that same edge. Because even Google, the creators of Android, tried to enter into the computing market. But Windows held a stranglehold there. If you remember, Linux and some other operating systems tried to go in, but Microsoft had already created that had held a stranglehold, and they made their software so easily acceptable. So Android, Google decided to employ the same method in the mobile phone market and made their own open source, and people came in. So Nokia already had lost the battle by trying to insist on Symbian, the Symbian technology, which had become outdated. Just like our deputy class governor said, iterations in Agile, this thing you modify, you do small iterations, you present just to get feedback that you change and you move on. But I think Nokia, that's where they lost it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all of the contributions. Okay, now, I want everyone, please pay attention to what I'm going to say. If you understand what I'm going to say now, the next product you will bring out will be a massively sold out product. The next project you're going to embark on will be a massively sold out project. Now, I want to tell us something. What really moved Nokia out of the market wasn't lack of innovation. It wasn't whether it was open source or closed source. That was not the problem. What moved Nokia out of the market wasn't the introduction of Android. Okay. Somebody could now ask, what then moved it out of the market? Listen and listen to me very well now. All of the things we say, they are good. But it's important that we also need to understand that their product was well accepted. Okay, it was well accepted, but something really happened. Something really happened. Maruf said something, said people's acceptance, very close to it. What happened was that there was an unlocking in the taste of consumers. There was a hidden need that Nokia was unable to identify, which Android brought in. And as soon as that need came in, automatically the people's interest, the people's desire, the people's passion, the people's need automatically drifted to the unlocked desire. Now listen, no matter what you're doing in project management, always have business sense. No matter what you're doing in innovation, always have whatever thing you're doing, make sure that it has business sense. Now, there is what we call hidden needs in marketing. And if you really want to sell in marketing, you must make sure that your product unlock hidden needs within consumers. That will, in a way, draft a market to you. All right? So what happened was that the soup Nokia had been cooking, they've cooked that soup for a long time. And people were tired of that soup, but they can't complain. And they didn't even know that they were tired of that soup until there was another presentation of another kind of soup. And all of a sudden, people began to say, oh, I like that soup. I like that soup. Consumer behavior changed automatically. Now, notice. What really made people's behavior to change wasn't because a phone was introduced. No, phone had been there. But what changed was that there were some kind of features that were exemplified in the product that arose new kinds of needs in people or in consumers that drafted them towards that kind of product. And when Android discovered that, oh, this thing is working, they now stuck to it. So it was like a sort of trial and error kind of event. Okay. And when they stuck to it and they found out that, oh, innovating more on it was going to give more result, companies began to troop into the Android industry or the Android market for it. So it wasn't really innovation, because even as of the time that what they call it now, Android came in, if you check as of that time, Nokia was already innovating on super excellent product. Before we bought the first Android, Nokia had already started selling product of 50,000, 63,000, 100,000, 120,000, some kind of phones they were selling then. Okay, but they were those things they involved in the product were not able to unlock new needs for people. Now, where am I going to? Please listen. Someone said it happened to BlackBerry. It happened to Sony Ericsson. It happened to what they call the Motorola. It happened to several others. But listen to me. The next time you want to find a product that will sell, ask for the need that people have not even identified. Did you get what I just said now? Before you go into producing another product, sit down. Don't be in a haste. Sit down and ask yourself a question. How do I identify and unlock the needs that people are not seeing? Whether we believe it or yes, several industries will still come up. Several products will still come up. Products that we've not known, they will still come up. Why? Because the needs of man, not this. Economists told us that the needs of man, they are all insatiable. You cannot satisfy the need of man. For in the theory of motivation, goal theory, for instance, goal theory told us that for every goal you achieve, it is no longer motivation. For every need, that's in the needs theory now. In the needs theory, say every need you meet is no longer a motivation to drive further. So for you to keep making good market, you must keep discovering hidden needs. And for the fact that they are hidden, anytime you bring it up, the goal for the customer, the taste for the customer, the behavior for the customer will automatically change to achieving the new need. How many of us have seen this advert on this Samsung Z Fold phone? You've seen that Z Fold phone? You see the advert? If you've seen the advert, that is good. I saw the advert. I've been seeing the advert. I think on DSTV. I'm just like, what is it? So somebody visited me the other day. I've not really paid attention. And then the person said that she had been seeing this advert often. And I said, let me even find out the price of this phone. And now Googled the price of phone. And the phone was 986,000 naira. That's the recent version of it. The least version of it is 778,000 naira. And then I tried checking on Apple phone, Apple. I tried checking on, is it iPhone 12 or the iPhone whatever Pro Max. I discovered that it wasn't up to the price of the Samsung Z whatever they were bringing on. And the question is, why are they doing it that way? People just want, there is a need of ego. You know that they call self-actualization need have arrived. That is the unlocking they are using there. Self-actualization. Oh, do you know the kind of phone I'm using now? This phone is 986,000. Okay. 986,000. So why will I buy for 186,000? Don't worry, till you get to that level, you'll find out why you need to buy the phone at 186,000. Now, is it too priced? I don't think it's too priced. Till you buy it, that's when you know whether it's too priced or it's not priced. My mentor told me something. He said, nothing is ever expensive. He said, nothing is ever expensive. People buy things based on value. Now, listen to me. You see, anytime you hear the word value, it is something that is going to address a need. But the question is, the need that the value address, is it an already discovered need? Are you just coming to play in an already existing market? Or is it a hidden need? Are you coming to introduce to someone what he knows that, oh, is a need within him, but he had never realized that it was a need? And I'm going to use this story. To wrap this up so that we can move on. This that I'm establishing with us here is something that if you are able to do this right, every product you bring on board will sell like wildfire. For those of us that know a little of Bible story, you remember that story of when Nebuchadnezzar who dreamt a dream? He dreamt and forgot his dream. And then he called all the wise men in the land of Babylon, called all the astrologers and said, if you don't tell me this dream, I will kill you. Bros, you are the one that dreamed the dream. You are the one that forgot your dream. How do you want us? Did we dream the dream with you? But the king is saying, if you don't tell me this dream, I will kill you. That is exactly what plays out in the market. Customers have cravings for needs that you don't know. Even they don't know it. They know that there is a need I have. Every human being existing, no matter, even Dangote has need. Even Dangote has need till you go and meet him. Bill Gates has need. Is it not Jeff Bezos that left the earth and went to Mars? He's tired of conquering the earth. He's now in the Mars, building estates, building all manner of things. The other day, this guy, what's his name? The owner of Virgin Atlantic. What's the name of that guy? Richard Branson. Richard Branson took some guys to another planet, and he said they are going there to do rocketeering and whatsoever. They go there and stay. Before now, all of us want to stay on the earth, but some people are beginning to think like there could be another needle. And you know the most amazing thing? People now travel to the moon for honeymoon. People travel to the Mars to go and spend some time there. But before the introduction or before the invention of that place, was there anything that looked like a need that people really wanted to go to the Mars or go to the moon or go to another planet? It wasn't there, but someone thought about it. Oh, this could be a hidden need, and all of a sudden people want to go there. All right, so importantly, when you are thinking through your product development, ask the question, how many people are currently using this product? If the number using this product is much, well, it's a good one. The question is, what can we add to this product that will unlock a new need for the people? As soon as you add that small thing to that particular product, you'll be so shocked that the market will move towards your direction. And this is what technology has used to disrupt the market. Any day technology wants to disrupt the market, it will just unlock a new need and people will just follow suit. Now, this thing I just explained now, does it make sense to anybody? If it makes sense to you, type yes in the chat room. If it doesn't make sense to you, type no in the chat room. Okay. Okay. So the next time we want to go into product development or going into any project, let's find out what can we introduce that will change consumer behavior to our side. Okay, what can we introduce? It is that introduction that we are calling innovation anyway. Okay, what can you introduce that can change the behavior? If you want to draft the market, change their behavior, as simple as it is. If you want to draft the market, change the behavior. If you want to draft the market, change their behavior. If you want to draft the market, change their behavior. I'll repeat that again. If you want to draft the market, change their behavior. All right, someone's hand is up. Please go ahead. Let's make it snappy.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, on the issue with Nokia, I want to agree with everything you said. I still was able to sift between the things you said, which also translates, which also I could also pick the point I made and some other people made on this issue with Nokia. It still boils down to, because one of the research I even made, that research stated that they made, at some point they sold to Microsoft. Now that research also shows that they stubbornly stuck to Symbian, even when they had the opportunity to move. Yes, you are right, which also corresponds to what we talked about, that they refused to see. In fact, that research also mentions that they lasted a long time, that they reigned, they actually did well. That research stated 6 things that made them to fail. They didn't want to take advantage of the Android bandwagon. Many phones were moving to Android easily. Still, they stubbornly stuck with Symbian. Then their Lumia series was a way they could have also made headway. They did, that one still failed too. In fact, they sold when they were already making losses. That was even the greatest mistake they made. And when they sold, the company they sold to didn't see any future in what the background they've laid in their own designs already. So I'm just saying it that it is the same thing, that if someone does not see a future an improvement, possibility, a reason to improve their operations in the future, or they don't build with the ability to expand, or they are not humble to accept the new norm, just like you said, being able to see what are those hidden things that people will need that what you are offering now does not have, and seeing that others are already moving. It was one of the mistakes that Nokia made, and I think it's still a valid point too. When we mentioned that they were not techy and innovative. If you know you are techy and innovative, what happens to moving along when you saw that you were already losing? Android was there, and you were already still stuck to Symbian. You moved a little to Lumios and the rest of them. So
okay, thank you for that suggestion. Sorry for that contribution. Okay, now I want to establish something. I'm not saying that all of the contributions we gave were wrong. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I want us to have a layman understanding of all of the contributions we are making. And that layman's contribution is that innovations should be people-driven. Yes, what they call them. Nokia was innovating as of the time Android came, but they were no longer in synergy with the people. Another need has been unlocked, but they were not moving towards that need. That's what I want to establish. Remember, the first statement I made in trying to establish this was, whatever innovation we are making, it should make business sense. Whatever innovation we are bringing in, it should make business sense. And I would like to summarize, before I bring in Architect Adeyemi, I would like to summarize by saying this. There are a whole lot of technological or tech companies there that are failing on a daily basis. Do you know why? They have innovations, but the innovations are not meeting the needs of the people. So you can have an innovation that does not meet needs. That's not the innovation we're talking about. But the innovation that meets the needs, alters the behavior of the people, that's the one we are hinging on. Now, there was something you made a very important statement you made. You said one of the reasons that they failed is that they stuck to a particular kind of technology. Even when the market was changing, they still stuck there. What does that mean? That means they maybe somehow believe that they could still alter behavior, market behavior, by following through such technology. Not that that technology cannot be innovated on. Just remember, just put this at the back of your mind. That's what I want us to get. Not that Symbian cannot be innovated on, not that Java cannot be innovated on, not that any other technology they use could not be innovated on. But the truth is, there was a need that had been unlocked. And if the innovation was not moving towards that need, people were not ready to buy. People were not ready to follow. I hope you get where I'm going to. The innovation that brought Android is not really that they just brought innovation, no, but they came and unlocked, their innovation unlocked a need. That's where I'm going to. Okay, a hidden need that Nokia refused to unlock. Even when it was unlocked, they still refused to move in that direction. All right? Okay, very important. So if you're into tech, or any other kind of business, the innovation you're bringing in, the question you will want to ask yourself is, will it unlock a new kind of need that will draft the people to me? Will it alter behavior in the market? Am I just coming to alter market behavior, or am I just coming to manage with others in the market? These are certain proactive questions you need to ask in establishing business case using projectized approaches. Okay, very, very important. Okay, I'm seeing the hand of Architect Adeyemi up. Please, can we unmute him? By 1 o'clock, we'll go on a break and then we'll reconvene immediately. Please, Architect Adeyemi, can you unmute Architect Adeyemi, please?
Okay, hello, sir.
Yeah, good day, sir. Well done and welcome again.
Okay, I am. So I would like to make a contribution and a question.
Okay.
Maybe in tandem with the class governance statement.
Okay.
Now, you have told us that for to remain relevant in whether production, service delivery, or whatever, we should unlock a hidden need. But in the case study of Nokia, to my mind, having thought back at it, when you compare Nokia with Apple, Apple maintained this OS, that's the iOS status. They never changed to Google, the Android, and they are still waxing stronger. To my mind, I think what Nokia must have gotten wrong was dancing between their market segmentation. Because Apple focused on a certain segment of the market, and they got it. From my experience too, my former organization were building luxury houses. They still are, and they are doing well. By the time I left them, I decided, okay, let me go to the mass housing. But that in business, one is niche, and really, I don't know if you can still give us some more clarity in between. Why was Apple successive, remaining stagnant on the iOS, and Nokia was not successful, remaining stagnant on the Symbian? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, you actually answered the question, and you answered the question by talking about segmenting market segmentation. Now, by that statement alone, you've already justified that in the market, there are different needs, people with different needs, right? It could be on the same product, but different varieties could now make for different needs, or different needs could make for different varieties. And I made a statement when I was talking about the Samsung Z Fold phone. That phone is for ego. Do you know what is ego? Self-actualization with arrived. Architect, are you still with me?
Yes.
Okay. So when you look at people like what they call them, the Apple, their phone, their product is on self-actualization need. Check everybody using Apple, or most of the people using Apple, is just let me belong to. Also, that is the need. They have the need of let me also belong. Let me also show that I've arrived. Let me also show that I'm a big boy. That is the market need they decided to serve. And there are some needs that the more you keep at it, the more you make the other people in the market to feel like this need should be a need that everybody should have. I don't know whether you're getting it. So that differentiation that they decided to focus on ego-based product, or a product that has to do with belonging to a particular class, that kind of psychological kind of product, they were satisfying the psychological needs of the people in that category. So if you don't have Apple, it seems as though you've not made it. You're still trying to make it in life and all of that. And that is the same approach that Samsung followed through. If you check most of Samsung product now, Samsung is beginning to climb in the higher of ego-based products. That some of their products are even becoming more expensive, because people believe that the more expensive the phone, the more classed you are. That's the need they've unlocked, and they are serving that need. The servicing of their need is just innovate on what they have to suit the need of those people there. And they believe the market is big enough to accommodate them. Now, coming back to Nokia, please, let's follow this carefully now. Coming back to Nokia, Nokia had a low differentiation kind of market. They wanted Nokia to be in the hand of everybody, whether you have money or you don't have money. Now, by that alone, you'll find out that Nokia had low-class product, middle-class product, high-class product, and maybe not too high-class. All right? For the fact that there was a conflict in the market, it became a problem. That's one. And now, all of a sudden, the people in the middle class found out that the people that were using the high-class product of Nokia, there is another company or another people that have come to tell them, oh, this your need, though, I can solve it at a lesser price. That was what drafted them in. And then all of a sudden, the people in high class began to understand that this thing we're even buying at this class, there is another group of people issuing it at a lesser variation. And then the people that we thought were low class are now using what we regarded as high class. So they joined them also. So the drift in the market was not being able to create perfect products for their perfect market, or for the perfect segment that they were able to understand, identify. If they wanted to do low-cost products only, and then they had innovative products to suit on to those needs. And then another important thing we also need to understand is that Nokia was not ready to move people from their basic needs to maybe ego needs. You know, ego needs, psychological needs, right? The ego need of, okay, I'm using a touch phone. Can I now get with the same amount of money, or can I add a little amount of money and now move to the one I can slide or open and close? Nokia was not ready to move people in that category. There was no successive movement of customers from low class to middle class, then from middle class to high class and all of that. But if you check people like Apple for a case, you find out that Apple will tell you iPhone this, you get maybe iPhone 6 or iPhone whatever. Yeah? iPhone is iPhone for people that are in the iPhone environment. So even if you don't have iPhone 12 Pro Max or whatever, you can start from iPhone 6. Then from iPhone 6, you can graduate to the next one. Then from that one, you can graduate to the next one. Then from there, you can graduate to. That was the successive nature they made in their business structure and their segmentation structure. So they had an entry that if you come in, the assignment is to keep you moving forward, not to exit. And the feature you expect in this next one is going to be more than the feature you had in the previous one, but it's the same iPhone. Just call it iPhone and then move them from one level to another. But for Nokia, no, it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that easy to move someone from what do you call them now? You move someone from Nokia Touch, and then you want to move them to Symbian, and then you move them to, which other one did they move them to? They moved them to another one. Think Windows, right? They moved them to Windows, and at some point, some people began to feel, I thought this my need though was satisfied, but I think I'm getting stuck. There was no successive plan that will move them easily to the next phase. Like some people said, it wasn't an open source kind of system. But when you go to what they call them, iPhone, everything you basically need is an iPhone. You don't need to start synchronizing with any other. In fact, some people that even have iPhone will feel like, I don't want to share with anybody. Okay, let me just be in my class. All right, so identifying your market segment, having the perfect need of your market and satisfying those people is very, very important. Is very, 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 very important. Dangling between market segments could be a difficult thing to deal with. And I will summarize with this last case study I will give. I know some of us know cowbell, and some of us know pig milk. All right? Okay. If not for easy adaptation of pig milk would have become like Nokia today. Do you know why? When cowbell came in, cowbell created successive products. You can buy 5 naira own. From 5 naira own, you move to 20 naira, to 50 naira, to 100 naira, to 200, 300. Now you can buy family size as the case may be. So there was, everyone's need was taken into cognizance. Cowbell disrupted the milk industry or the dairy industry when they came in. When pig was the major leader of the market, is either you buy it or you leave it. Pig was basically designed for high-class people. Okay, it was designed for high class people. It's either you buy it or if you're poor, you're not supposed to drink milk. That was the impression Peak brought into the market. But Cowbell brought another impression that no, everybody can drink milk. And then they created products that can help people climb from one level to another. And that gave Cowbell the market. Now, when Peak realized that, oh, these people are really taking the market, so they quickly adjusted and came to creating successive products. Before Cowbell started creating 10 naira, 5 naira, 10 naira, 20 naira product, the Peak was not considering that. I think the first product that Peak created was I think it was 25 naira then. Cowbell Peak first sachet was 25, and then they moved to 50. And then I think now it's still within 50, 70 as the case may be. And then they began to create other products. Now, in summary of this discussion, when you are unlocking needs, don't just unlock and stop there. Create successive movement. At the need level that you've unlocked, find the entry point. Don't create an exit point for that need. Rather, create movement points. Let people move from one level to another. Nokia did not have that, and most of the other companies that folded on the purview of what we're considering, they didn't have that successive kind of movement for their customers. They were not carrying their customers to their next level, and that created a problem. All right. Okay, so this is 1 o'clock. We'll take 5 minutes break, and then when we return, we will continue. Let's take 5 minutes break. Please take a cup of water. Take your tea if you've not taken. Walk around a little. By 1:05, we are returning. I'm really enjoying this class because it's much more practical. It's much more fun. And we are all bringing all our ideas together. All right, so let's take 5 minutes. Governor, please, as soon as it's 5 minutes, call us back. Thank you.